Recently, a client asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks. He said, my friend was complaining about therapy, and every complaint he had is something you don't do. And then he asked, so how do you do what you do? That question is actually the question, because what he's really asking is, what's my framework? What's my theoretical orientation? What am I following so that therapy isn't just vibes? If you're new here, I'm John. I'm a therapist, and I make content to help people create new perspectives. Grounded, practical, and human. Quick note, this video is educational. It isn't therapy, and it isn't clinical advice for your specific situation. But I can walk you through how I think about good therapy, what I trained for, what I pay attention to, and how a model called IFS completely changed how I show up in the room. Most people don't realize this, but ideally, a therapist is working from a theoretical orientation or a framework. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, DBT, EMDR, IFS. There are a lot of models. Some basic theory is taught in school, but school basically teaches you how to think ethically and how to practice safely. If you want to be truly effective, continuing education is crucial because models aren't just ideas, they're skills. And I'll say this carefully. Some therapists take continuing education very seriously. Supervision, consultation, trainings, sometimes really expensive certifications. Others do the minimum they can. They grab cheap CEUs online and never really sharpen their craft. So when someone says therapy didn't work for me, maybe it's not therapy as a concept. Sometimes it's that they didn't get a therapist who had real training, real framework, and real intentionality. So when my client asked me that question, I told him I have a list. It's basically my internal checklist of what I think is a good therapist, and I use it to guide me. I thought it'd be a good idea to write it down, and now I get to use it to help others. Let me walk you through my list. And remember, models are great, but the best predictor of a positive outcome in therapy is the therapeutic relationship. So how the therapist is being with the client matters most. Okay, here's the list. Number 1, warmth, empathy, and unconditional positive regard. Yeah, that's very Rogerian, person-centered therapy. And it's not just fluffy, it's not just be nice, it's communicating. You're not broken, you're not too much, and you don't have to earn love here because people don't go deep where they don't feel safe. Another hallmark is the effective use of silence. A lot of therapists get nervous and fill the space, but silence can be where the real work happens. And right next to that, strong reflections, both simple and complex. Simple reflection says, I'm tracking you. Complex reflection says, I'm tracking you, and I think maybe there's a deeper meaning here. Let me know if I'm off. I also try to hold what I call an attitude of not knowing. Not because I don't have training, because I do, but because you are the expert on you. My job isn't to be the authority on your life. My job is to help you understand yourself and to collaborate so you build confidence and clarity from the inside out. Another piece people don't talk about enough is body language. Sometimes I'll mirror a client's posture or energy, not in a fake way, but in a regulating way, because nervous systems communicate, and sometimes safety is felt before it's understood. I use a lot of open-ended questions and try really hard not to make assumptions. Even when I think I know what someone might mean, I'd rather ask, what exactly did you mean when you said that? What does that word mean to you? Because people's words can sound the same while meaning totally different things. Another hallmark is the willingness to grow and adjust. A good therapist isn't rigid. They don't cling to one style no matter what. I also think therapists should be open to feedback from both clients and peers. And it's not uncommon for me to ask my client, hey, how we doing? Let's do a check-in, because therapy works best when the relationship is real. I really value authenticity, and that leads to a really big one, creating a level playing field. I don't want there to be a power differential where I'm the expert and you're the problem. I want collaboration. I want you to feel autonomy, like you have choices and agency in your own treatment. I also think appropriate self-disclosure can be really helpful. But the key word is appropriate. Not making the session about the therapist, not oversharing, just using small intentional moments to help the client feel less alone and make things feel real. Listen, I'm a human and we're having a human experience together. And finally, leveraging client strengths. A lot of people come into therapy with a list of what's wrong with them. One of the first things I ask in our intake is, what's good about you? What are some of your strengths, skills, or positive traits? What might your family, friends, or loved ones say is good about you? I'm always looking for what's strong, what's resilient, what's already working, even if it's buried. Because strengths aren't just nice to notice, they're tools that we can really build with. Now, I want to share the biggest shift in my career: internal family systems therapy, IFS. It sounds like family therapy, and there's use for that, but this is actually individual internal system work, working with our parts. Go check out my videos to see more. IFS changed how I show up because it helped me see that therapists have parts too. Protective parts, anxious parts, fix-it parts, prove yourself parts, or you're an imposter part. And if these parts are running the sessions, even if they have good intentions, the client can feel it. They have built-in BS meters. Clients can detect when a therapist is up to something, when there's an agenda, when the therapist needs the client to change to feel successful. IFS gave me a way to step back from my own parts so I can show up more like a blank canvas. Not empty, not robotic, but clear, calm, and curious. In IFS language, that's showing up in self energy. And when I can do that, I'm not pushing, I'm not judging, I'm not trying to force a breakthrough. I'm just present. And that presence creates space for the client to find their own truth without me steering it. So if you've ever wondered what makes therapy feel helpful, or why one therapist felt off and another felt like a fit, this is a big part of it. Framework matters, training matters, but so does presence, skill, humility, and collaboration. If you want, comment or message me the word framework, and I'll make a follow-up video on how to tell what a therapist's orientation is, or what questions to ask in a consultation call. And if you're into this stuff, parts work, nervous system education, subscribe, follow along. I put out grounded mental health content every week. Thanks for watching.
Creating new perspectives together.